Hello, happy Saturday.
Hello.
Well, it's Saturday today, but it won't be Saturday when
It'll be Thursday.
it'll be a Thursday. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
We are going to chat about a bunch of stuff today. We're going to talk about our silly little gatekeeping stories.
Mm-hmm.
We're revisiting the topic of gatekeeping in general.
Yeah.
Because it's a very simple concept, but I think it can come up in so many different ways in people's lives. It can come up in professional, which is, I think, where it comes up most often for us. And that's what's most frustrating to us. And that's why we created what we created. But it also can come up in very silly ways in personal life.
Yeah.
Like when you ask somebody where they got their dress, or when you're trying to figure out how to get your kid into school and the other moms won't tell you how.
Ooh, yeah.
That's happened to me.
That's probably a big one.
It's a big one. Parenthood has a lot of gatekeeping.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But let's just recap some of our personal gatekeeping stories. And then we've got some questions from the community to answer.
Yep.
Because we are AGKs.
Yep.
And
Anti-Gatekeepers.
Anti-Gatekeepers. And then maybe we talk a little bit about what we have coming. Our exciting launch today.
Yeah.
At the time of this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Today.
Oh, yeah. We got to hype it up.
And then, I don't know, we'll see where else it flows. But all right. So I've been thinking about this a lot, and I didn't consciously realize how much gatekeeping was happening earlier in my career. But I remember specifically the first job that I ever had, that one that I quit very quickly, the first corporate job I ever had that I hated because it was like a monkey job. I was supposed to be watching trade details come in through this command center at Morgan Stanley. And when there were details that were off, I had to catch those details and fix them before the date the trade was supposed to close. Because if there were details that were incorrect on the close date, the trade would fail and a bunch of traders would lose a bunch of money, and they would call and yell at me. And they did. It happened a lot.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
No wonder you cried every night.
It was awful. It's awful. So it was not a hard job, but it was tedious. And I had this mentor that was assigned to me. And I would ask her on multiple occasions, how do you finish? She was always done with her work really quickly, and she would just be messing around on the computer, doing things she wanted to do, like reading articles, catching up on current events, reading pop culture, things I wanted to be doing as a 22-year-old. And I asked her a couple of times how she finished so quickly. Like, what am I doing wrong? Why is this taking me so long? And she would just say, oh, put in your time. You'll figure it out. Put in your time, you'll figure it out. And I never understood that, because when I was asking for help on how to be more efficient, it's not like it would have made her slower.
Yeah.
If she told me how to be quicker. It would have done nothing to like make her look worse.
Yeah. If anything, that's just so dismissive. It's like, I just don't even have time to tell you.
Yeah. If anything, it made our team better.
Yeah.
It would make our team look better. If she would have showed me how to be faster. And she never would. She made me feel so dumb.
Yeah, but there's always that, like, I think a lot of times people feel threatened, and they're like, I'm the best here, and I don't want to show you my skills, because then you're going to be competition to me, or I'm going to have to, like, you're going to get better than me. Or, you know.
They don't want to share their secret sauce.
Yeah.
That's true. I personally don't. I understand what you're saying, but I personally I don't like that energy.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I don't like that energy, because
I think that's like what happens, though. That's like a lot of the reason behind it. And it's
scarcity mindset.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that goes into that like a lot of times, like, there being not as many women in the office or something, and then you feel like you're competing with the other women. It's just like kind of the way that you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. I had an interesting conversation with this very successful corporate woman last week. And I asked her, we were catching up. She was generous and offered some of her time. We were catching up. And I asked her that question because she's way ahead of me in her career by probably 15 to 20 years. And I asked her if she had experiences earlier in her career or just along the way of women displaying queen bee behavior, which is basically like gatekeeping, not
Yeah.
sharing information of how to get better, not pointing you out in a room full of opportunities, things like that. And she said, she was like, I don't know if you're going to like this answer, but let me tell you. And I thought, okay, actually, this is very good for me to hear the perspective of people of different generations. And she said that something she'd been thinking about a lot recently was that when you are in corporate and there are not as many women at the top, the women that are there already almost hold the women that are trying to come up to a higher standard because they believe that if a woman who is not as good or doesn't have the skills yet or isn't whatever, trying as hard, not as good, however you want to describe it, gets to the top, it brings the perception of the average of women down. Whereas if you hold other women to a high standard in general, or a higher standard than you might a man, then when people think about women being at the top, their perception is only like, wow, they're all badass. I didn't really know what to say because I feel like that's sort of perpetuating the problem that already exists. Although I understand the thought process. Like, yeah, maybe you're harder on somebody that you really care about and you want to see succeed because you want to hold them to a high standard. But I thought that was it's a generational thing. Like, I do think that what we're trying to do is make a little bit of a cultural, help support a cultural mindset shift that you don't actually have to be that way. But I was a little shocked to hear that.
Yeah, that's interesting. That kind of like brings my, I don't know, but it makes me think about like with Coffee and Contracts, we have so many competitors at this point. It's very low cost of entry into creating coffee and like a business like that. And so we have a ton of competitors. And at first I feel like I was very insecure about them seeing what I'm doing and them copying me and like all that kind of stuff. But I feel like I've gotten to a point now where I've like even talked with some other business owners who like do the exact same thing as me. Like there's plenty of room to go around. There's like not everyone that is not everyone is going to be for me. There's enough for everyone to have someone, and people are going to like the way that someone presents information better and like the way someone does something better. And I think it also helps us as a whole, like all of us competitors, to like, for all of us to be doing well. It means that our industry is, it's like the rising tide rises all ships. So that's something I feel like I've been thinking about a lot.
Yeah, it's a good point. And there's going to have to be a lot more work done, I think, both from a cultural standpoint, but also just individuals doing some work on themselves to feel differently about helping others succeed and being open-minded and sharing what's working, even if you are technically competitors. I feel like there's so much like this is a karma thing, you know, if you put out good energy and abundant energy, it's going to come back around to you. And so many people don't live from that mindset. Can you define gatekeeping just to make it very clear? Yeah.
Well, real quick, I feel like I have a good story that's a really good example of gatekeeping, kind of, or of the opposite of gatekeeping, an anti-gatekeeper.
An anti-gatekeeper.
Which I've kind of talked about this when I talked to her with Jasmine on my interview with her. But I applied for her mastermind. She was doing a mastermind with like 15 business owners or something like that. I applied for it, filled in all my business information. In the back of my head, I was like, she's probably not going to accept, or part of me was like, she's probably not going to accept me because our businesses are so similar. If you don't know, she has a very similar business to mine. It's like for the general population, and mine is like just for real estate agents, but they're like very similar. And so in the back of my head, I was like, she might not accept this, like mine, because I'm so similar to her. She may not like that. Like I've never met her. Like she, But, and then the other part of my brain was like, she is like so like up here and elevated. Like she does not care. I was like, I kind of knew that like, why would she's not worried about me. She's fine. And I couldn't have been more wrong. She literally, I feel like she gave me extra support because of my business. And when I had my first call with her, the things she was telling me, she was like, don't tell anyone this, and like I would say like, oh, I thought about doing that. She's like, already did that. Big mistake. This happened. Blah, 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 blah. Like just laying it all out there. I was like, this is the exact opposite of a gatekeeper. She was like, I have never seen someone want me to like succeed more, even though I could be taking her real estate clients away from her.
That's really cool.
But on the other hand, gatekeeping is just withholding information for no reason other than to benefit yourself, I think. Like,
Yeah.
if someone asks you, how'd you get that job? How'd you get that promotion? And you have some little tips and tricks in your head, or there's certain things that you did, but you just like don't, or like tools that you use and you don't want to tell that person because you don't want them to have the same success that you did, I guess, or have your secret sauce or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that's what gatekeeping is.
It feels like gatekeeping is an action, but it's also a mindset.
Yeah.
It's an action that comes from a scarcity mindset.
That's true.
And
I like that.
Both of those things are just so low vibe.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Not cool. It doesn't feel good either.
No, it doesn't feel good. And it doesn't propel you forward.
Yeah.
To gatekeep information from somebody when they're asking for your help or they're asking for access to knowledge.
Yeah.
And like, who are you to be the one to decide whether somebody gets access to that information or not? It's
interesting too. This is like maybe a really off point, but like a lot of times when you tell someone exactly how you got from point A to point B, they're still like not going to do it.
100%. 100%.
Like, they're not going to use the information that you're telling them. I feel like you can tell someone exactly how you did everything, and nobody's going to have that same path or experience that you had, no matter what. So like, why not share it? You know, it's not going to work the same for everyone.
That is a very, very good point. Just because you share with somebody an entire playbook of how to do something does not mean that they're going to go replicate that.
Yeah.
They're going to have to take their own journey.
Yeah.
And be authentic in themselves for it to be successful for them. Nobody ever, that came up on, I think I shared last week, how I built this episode with Whitney Wolf. That is actually very old, but a friend resurfaced it to me a few weeks ago. And she was one of the founding leaders at Tinder, and then was basically shunned out of the company because she had a relationship with one of the founders and he didn't want her there anymore. But the episode was about her comeback story and how she built Bumble. And they were asking her on this episode a ton of questions about how it's such a competitive space. Like, why couldn't somebody just replicate exactly what she did with Bumble? And she said, I actually don't think anybody could actually replicate this because nobody has the drive, the passion, and the authenticity around building this the same way that we do. Yeah. And even if I gave them the entire playbook that we took, and she said she had, like, people ask her for help all the time, and she always shares how she was able to build, it's not a community, it's a dating app, but they've made it so much more. Like, there's Bumble BFF, there's so many things.
They're disruptors.
Disruptive entrepreneurs. But it was her thing was like, nobody's going to copy you if it's not authentic to them. Yeah. And so you shouldn't be worried about that. It's just a distraction. And then Sarah Blakely talks about this all the time too. There were so many small companies that popped up trying to copy Spanx, and she chose not to litigate against any of them because she said that's a distraction to my business. That's
such a good point.
It's a distraction to my business. Why don't I focus on just growing my business and creating the best product that will make my customers feel amazing, not be worried about my competition.
Wow. That was like, love that.
Love that.
I really love that. I also, what I thought of was, I've thought about this before. I was just laying on my couch one time. This is really weird, but I was like looking at my house and I was like, it's so interesting to think about, like, this house would only ever look like this because I live here. If you think about it, anyone that would move into like a blank space, no matter, like, no two people are going to have the same space. Yeah. Like, nobody's going to decorate their house the same. Like, everybody's like...
Oh, that's a good analogy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nobody's going to do anything the exact same way.
Yeah.
It's always... And you made this point earlier, like, you're not for everybody, and the next person is not for everybody. Yeah. So you're going to serve certain people that relate to you, and competition is going to serve the people that relate to them. And there's no way for any one business to serve literally everyone. Yeah. This is not a zero-sum game.
Yeah, I can't serve every real estate agent in the world. No. We can't have all the podcast listeners in the world.
No, we'll have the people that resonate with our mission and our vibe and like the content that we're putting out, and that's fine. Yeah. We're not trying to get everybody. Yeah. We're just trying to make an impact on those that need this in their life.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's it. What about I'm trying to think of other stories. I mean, I have so many. So there's this community of women in leadership that is very impressive. They have tons of high profile, very successful women in the community. And it's something that I've always thought would be really helpful to me, to be part of this community, to get access to these women's brains, network with them, understand how they achieved what they achieved. And once I took on leadership roles, which is the criteria to be in there, you have to be a VP and above. I applied, and I didn't hear anything for probably 6 months. And then, and really, like, I didn't, right or wrong, I didn't expect to get in because I felt so far apart from the women that they were flaunting as part of their community. I think Michelle Obama is affiliated with this group and some of the most powerful executives at successful companies. But technically I fit the criteria.
Yeah.
And so I applied, didn't hear back for a while. And then I got an email saying, based on your professional achievements, we'd like to interview you to be part of the community. I got so excited. I wrote them back, and immediately, I had no chill. I was not playing it cool. Immediately, and I said, I'm so excited. How do I set up my interview? And didn't hear anything for like a day, which I thought was weird. And then another day went by, which was weird. And then I got an email that said, we are very sorry, but in error, basically a bunch of people got this email, and we're not actually interviewing you to be part of the community. And it was really disheartening for me, because it just felt like another club that I couldn't be a part of because I didn't have this incredible success already.
But you did.
But I did in a lot of ways. I'm not Michelle Obama, but I've done a lot in my career, and I have a lot of information to give and share, and I also have tons of things to learn, and that's why I wanted to be part of it. And so it felt like, gatekeeping information for me that I wanted access to, and I was willing to pay the membership fee and all these things.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just didn't sit great with me. And it's not even that I hate, there's no hate or shade towards that organization, because they're serving a specific demographic, and that's cool. And I think they do great work, but it did give me this aha moment of, but where does everybody go when they haven't yet reached VP level?
Yeah.
Where do the women go when they just want the playbook of how to earn 6 figures, how to earn 7 figures, how to get a promotion to a VP title, how to pick the right startup companies to work for that are going to give you a meaningful amount of money in equity in your life, how to find the companies that like are going to give you change your life type of money. All of these playbooks that are not obvious where someone like me could go find them. And I've lived in that world for more than a decade now. And so it just sparked this, it struck a nerve in me that really made me want to start this. And then when we talked about it, you totally understood and got what I was saying, because you've had similar experiences. And I don't know, that's really what we're trying to create, is like, you don't have to be a VP to be part of this community. You don't have to have any specific title. You have to be somebody that wants more, wants to learn and grow, wants to share, most importantly, and understands the idea and concept of collectively supporting each other is so much more powerful than keeping your playbooks and your secret sauce and your learnings to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's really why
we're doing it. Yeah. I think also when you brought this idea to me, I was at a point where I work alone, and I've worked alone for like 4 years, and I know that there's other women in our community, like Kalia and like Christine, like people who run their own business also alone, maybe like 10, 20 minutes away from me. We're all sitting in our rooms by ourselves doing this essentially the same thing by ourselves. Yeah. And like, can we all just meet up sometime? Can we have a group chat? That's what I really have been dying for, is like, let's all just hang out. And like, I have questions that you guys have probably are dealing with right now or have already dealt with. And I want to like, I've found like this, I've never done any kind of like mastermind or like community like that. But like this year I joined a couple of different networking things and networking groups. And I love that. It's so helpful to be able to ask people questions that have done the thing already and have made the mistakes. And it's like just crazy valuable.
It's the concept of learning. Somebody that I worked for in the past used to always say this: learn faster than the rate of your own experience if you surround yourself with the people that have done it first.
Well,
it's easier said than done, because you have to find people that want to share it with you. And that is what the Gateless community represents. Is anybody that's going to join the Gateless community has been there, done that, and wants to share it. And there's things that they don't know yet, but there's going to be somebody else in the community that's been there, done that, and wants to share a playbook or how to do it. And it's just going to perpetuate a cycle, like a flywheel of information sharing. And the hope is that everybody that joins is exponentially more successful, works quicker and faster at whatever they're trying to achieve than if they were sitting in their house 15 minutes away from somebody that has already done it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, me too.
There's also very silly examples of gatekeeping. Like when you ask somebody for a recipe for something that they made you, and they won't give it to you, or they change a recipe because they don't.
Oh yeah, that's. I feel like that's like a grandma thing. It's like your grandma's
thing.
Like got the 100%. Secret recipe. She's like, that's my secret recipe. But I do feel like the newer generations are very anti-gatekeeping.
Agreed.
Like those are kind of coming in, and like everybody's sharing on TikTok. Like, you got to try this recipe. You got to do this. You got to do that. But it definitely hasn't always been that way, and it definitely. Sometimes there's sneaky ways. Like I'll tell the story, my gatekeeping story. What's the story when you turn into the evil character? What's that called?
When you turn into the evil character? What do you say?
Like in like a superhero movie, there's like a story that something that happened to them that turned them into the bad character.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know what that's called either, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like the thing that made them
evil.
Icy or evil.
Yeah, it didn't really make me evil, but I just love to say that.
You're not an evil character.
But whenever I was finally throwing in the towel, like in the beginning, like when I graduated college and I was trying to do real estate and I was bartending and doing all the things, and I was like, okay, finally, I'm just gonna apply for a real job.
Yeah.
And I applied for a job at like a paycheck company. And there was some girls that I knew from college that worked there. And one of them was like trying to get me into the company because she worked there, and she was like, got me the interview and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I had the interview. Did I tell you about this before?
I'm remembering it now.
And then I had the interview, and I was like, I in my head, I thought I did so good. Now looking back, I don't know if I did that well. But basically, I thought I did really well. I was really confident about it. And then they told me that I didn't get the job. Also, this is like a paycheck sales job. I thought, I don't know. But like,
I'm trying to teach anybody to do that job.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a job that like a lot of people out of college do.
Entry level job.
Yeah, that's why a lot of my friends did it.
Yeah.
And so they called me and told me I didn't get it. I felt like such a failure when I didn't get that job. And then I found out that through one of the girls that one of the other girls that I knew from college basically told the manager when he asked her about me after the interview that I was lazy, I didn't work hard, that I was weird, which I am weird, but
it's not a reason not to get a job. And
I know. Well, she told like weird stories about me. She said that I was like a crazy Yelp reviewer or something.
What? What?
I know that sounds crazy.
Describe somebody.
But because I had one funny Yelp review in college that was funny. So like a lot of my friends knew about the Yelp review. It was like of a local college bar. It was funny. And
that's not very nice though. She, instead of pulling up all the good things about you, she said all the bad things.
Yeah. So, and there was like, I did good things in college. I wasn't lazy. So yeah, that was super disheartening because I'm like, dude, like, I'm just struggling right now. I just need a job. Like, you could like, I'm not gonna come for your job.
Yeah, I just am trying to get a paycheck.
But yeah, and then she was also like in sales, so I mean that's just another like competitor to add to the list, I guess.
That's lame.
Yeah,
very low vibe energy.
Yeah,
hate that. We have some questions.
Yep.
Do you want to answer those?
I'll let you pull them up.
Let's see. Did you ever confront that girl about it?
No. Never. Just slowly started ghosting.
Okay. Oh, here's a good one. What's one thing? These are questions that people wrote in from the community. And we're not gatekeepers. So we're going to answer them. What's one thing you wish you knew when you started as an entrepreneur?
Ooh. I feel like we kind of talked about this in our episode with Shannon, but like she made a good point about like the things that you don't know are, it's actually good that you don't know a lot of things when you come into it naively, because you don't know that you're going to be like setting up a team and that you're going to have to like let people go and that you're going to have to make all these decisions, have all these problems. But I mean, at the same, there's also, it's totally worth it. But what I would tell myself, I would say definitely ask more questions. Like it kind of goes back.
Yeah.
I wish I would have started networking and getting advice from people sooner, because then I could have avoided a lot of mistakes that I made in the beginning.
Yeah.
And a lot of like things that you build your business upon in the beginning, you can save so much time by building it right.
Yep.
But then again, if you take too long and you're trying to perfect it, then you won't make any moves. So I am glad that I like just kind of figured it out as I went.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, if I could ask questions to someone who had done it, that would have been helpful for sure.
I think one thing that I wish I knew, and Haley's way further into being an entrepreneur than I am, but one thing I wish I knew when I started as an entrepreneur was how weird it was going to make me feel to know that some people in my life didn't understand it or support it or like it.
That's a good point.
I didn't realize how weird that would make me feel.
Yeah.
And I've gotten past that, and I'm not doing it for anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it for my purpose.
Yeah.
And like the mission that we're on. So that really doesn't matter, other
Mm-hmm.
people's opinions. But I think I wish I knew how maybe a better mindset to take going into it, not seek any external validation, because there's a lot of people when you start entrepreneurship that just don't understand at all why you're doing what you're doing or what you're doing in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true, especially in today's age where you have to promote your business on social media, which is such a weird, interesting space, because it's gone from a place where we once just were followed our friends and our friends followed us and we posted our pictures, that now like a lot of people are content creators or running a business, and it's like this weird mix. Yeah, I feel like, especially on Instagram right now. So it's definitely interesting.
It's vulnerable to put yourself out there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of haters. It's a little bit scary.
You got to get past the cringe to get to the other side.
That's right. Very true. What is your favorite part of being an entrepreneur?
Definitely the flexibility. I just had the ability to block off 1 week this past week for no calls. I don't know why I didn't think about doing this earlier, but I feel like anyone, even like whenever I first met you, you were probably like, this girl really does not like calls. Because I feel like in the beginning, like when I first started my business, I feel like I didn't have any calls because it was just me doing my thing. And then as you hire like agencies to do different things for you, like website agency, SEO.
Yeah, people need to talk to you.
You have your partners, you have potential partners, and then you have networking. And so all of a sudden now, and then you have your team and you have your internal calls. And now all of a sudden my weeks look like I have multiple calls every day. And I started from being like, wow, this is great. I don't have any calls. But they just like really take a lot out of me. And I think they also, it goes into like that context switching thing where if I'm working on something, then you're pulled away for a call. You have to think about that. And then you have to follow up with them. Then that's like in the back of your mind. And then you have to get back to what you were working on. It just kind of like can throw off your day.
No, it's super true.
I definitely got off the question here, but flexibility is my favorite part because I'm able to schedule weeks like that where I'm like, okay, I'm not taking any calls this week. Yeah. That's number one for me.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
It seemed like, I mean, just knowing, obviously we talk a lot, but it seemed like last week you accomplished a ton.
It was the best week of my career. Like I got so much done. Yeah. And I think too, I knew this is my no call week. Like we're doing it. We got to go hard. And so I was just like time blocking and like, oh, so good. It was amazing.
That's it's a great perk when you can make your own schedule. Let's see. How do you structure your week for best productivity? I know you have a lot of hacks on this. I think mine is that I look at my week before it starts, like on a Saturday or Sunday. Actually, I start looking at the following week before the current week even ends, like on a Friday or so, I'll look at the next week on my calendar, my work calendar and my personal calendar. And I'll just make sure that everything is on both so that I'm not missing anything. And then I go through and block thinking time before the week even starts. Because if there's like a time on my calendar that's not already taken, I'm going to block it off so that I can just do work or think or whatever.
What do you do during your thinking time?
I just think about I take a step back and I think about the projects that I need to make progress on. I think about any problem that is still persistent that hasn't been solved yet, and I can be creative.
Is this like over a cup of coffee, or like where are you sitting?
I usually go on walks.
Okay, I was like, I need to visualize this. I just picture you sitting at your desk, like.
No, I don't actually do it. I don't do it sedentary. I usually get out of my house and go take a walk.
And like no podcast,
just thinking time. And I'll have a note of the things throughout the week. I'll dump a few things that are just unresolved in my head, or projects that are not done yet, or problems I need to solve yet, or just things that deserve their own time. And then when I go on the walk, I pull that note up and then I think about those things.
Whoa.
So that I don't forget what I have to think about.
I feel like my brain doesn't work like that.
What do you mean?
Like I can't focus that hard in my own head. I have to be physically writing it out.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like my thinking time is more like journaling, because I can't focus on thoughts like that. And maybe I should talk to my doctor about that.
Well, maybe it's maybe you're thinking about different things during journal time versus the type of thinking time I'm describing. Because I definitely love a quiet moment where I'm sitting journaling in the morning. But that is going to be that is not when I'm trying to solve work problems.
See, I can't. Okay, I don't know if I should say this out loud, but I feel like I can't solve problems in my head. Like, is that crazy?
No, I think this is just difference in how people.
Okay,
I'm an internal ruminator. I will work a problem 8,000 ways to Sunday before I'll say it out loud to anybody.
Okay,
and before I write anything down about it, it's all ding 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 ding.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. I need to marinate on this a little bit. I'll have to think about this. I'll have to journal about this.
Add it to your journaling list. So anyway, I'm blocking time on my calendar specifically to just have time and space to think. That's always a successful week for me. And then and if it's not on my calendar, I'm not doing it. Every single thing I'm doing in the week is blocked down to in the morning when it's me time, when I'm waking up before everybody in my house and doing my meditation and journaling and using my little cold roller or whatever, having just time and space for myself. And then working out is always on my calendar. And I try to always do it in the morning. But if there are days that my day starts really early or my son wakes up earlier than expected, then I'll like make sure it's somewhere else in the day. And then I'm just specific about color coding my calendar so I know how many customer external facing calls I have versus things I need to talk about with my internal team. Because I think you have to be in a different mindset when you're getting on a call with an internal team versus a customer. A good point. So color coding, time blocking, space for me, making sure my workouts and alone time are scheduled. And then in the evenings, this might sound like too maniacal and too managed. And I don't think this is for everybody, but for me, even in the evenings, I have planned what I'm going to work on that night or what I'm going to think about, or if it's just free time. Because you know that saying, like, if you need something done, give it to a busy person because they'll find space to do it.
That's true.
When somebody that's not that busy just probably won't do it. I just feel I'm in that season of life. I don't have a lot of free time, but I have a lot to accomplish every week. And so I'm just very disciplined and consistent with my time. So the only way I can do that is by pre-planning. I'm not like a whimsical, maybe I'll get to that on Wednesday. Even stuff with us, when you need me to do something by a certain day, it's on my calendar and I know exactly when I'm going to do it. And I don't not do it. So that's how I stay productive.
I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I literally am tracking this right now. No, I've been trying to do the same thing. I feel like I've definitely gone through different seasons, and I'm in a like very good productive season right now. But I do the same thing, block off my Google Calendar. I don't do it the week before. I'll do it like the day before or the morning of. I'll just block off my things. I've been waking up at like 5 a.m. and I feel like that has been a big game changer because I feel like I get 2 hours to just like relax with my coffee in the morning. It's my favorite time of day. I love it. I'm a big morning person. But that's not every season. I go through different seasons where I'm waking up later or I'm, not time blocking. But I find that when I feel the most productive, it's because I'm blocking my calendar and then I'm putting my phone on do not disturb and I'm exiting out of Slack and exiting out of my email and not being pulled into different directions while I'm working on a particular task.
Yep.
That's something I feel like I did. When I get burned out, it's because I am not spending my time wisely. I've realized I could work every day of the week, even like weekends. I love a lot of what I do for work. And I feel like that's not what burns me out. It's me not spending my time effectively. Because when I'm not spending my time effectively, then I get to the end of the day where I worked all day and I'm like, I got nothing done. And that's not a good feeling. So yeah, I think the time blocking helps you to focus on the tasks that you are putting off for sure.
For sure. And helps you see the map of like how much of your week is work versus free time.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if you see that you have a really heavy day,
Yeah.
you're not going to spend your evening doing more work that day.
Yeah.
You're going to plan a walk with a friend or whatever, just space to be alone. That helps me if it's out of balance. Because I'm very focused on balance too. I also could work all day because I'm doing something I like.
Yeah.
But the balance is the only way to not burn out.
Yeah. I feel like setting goals has been something I'm working on too. That is really helpful. Because then with the time blocking and everything, like you have a goal, I feel like it's super helpful to make your goals like a numeric goal. Like I'm going to make, $1,000 in sales this month. And then you break it down into like weeks and days and say, what am I doing every day to get to that goal? And then you're like blocking it in your calendar and you just feel a lot more like, I feel like that puts you more at ease. Like, that you're like on the path to reach your goal for,
That's
I don't know. One.
Helps you achieve it.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. Do you each have a word for the year?
What's your word?
My word this year is competence.
I love that.
I spent a lot of time last year questioning myself and doubting decisions I knew I needed to make, or doubting how I should be spending my time, or doubting the step forward I needed to take. And it just left me in this place of analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
As opposed to action. And so the reason competence is my word is because I think it's going to keep me in a place of action.
I love that. I haven't said a word, but I think I'm going to steal yours.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Every time I try to say a word, I swear, every year I'm like, all right, my word is mindfulness. And then like a day later, I'm like, actually my word.
It's happy.
Yeah. I'm like, I have a lot of words.
Joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's crazy is when we went to that breathwork class a few weeks ago together, Christina, the guide, gave us each a card from her deck at the end of it, and mine had a bunch of sunflowers on it and it said confidence.
That's crazy.
It just felt like it was the universe having my back,
It was.
Okay, how are you giving back to your community this year?
I've been wanting to do more giving back. I mean, I think one way that we both want to give back is just by like this whole movement of anti-gatekeeping. I really like to like meet with people like business owners, my friends, and anyone who's trying to grow their business online and help them with their business. But one thing that I want to do with Coffee and Contracts is do the Habitat for Humanity and get a bunch of real estate agents, like our members in the area, to come out and do a project every quarter and build a house.
It's a great
organization. I feel like it'll be
organization.
really nice to like do something with your hands.
Yeah.
And get off the computer, you know? And learn more about houses at the same time and give back to the community. It's
totally
a win-win-win.
That's a good one. And I think for Gateless, since we are launching the community today at the time this is published, we'll offer a scholarship. Yeah. We'll definitely offer a scholarship for a few, maybe, for those who really want access to this type of community and to the women that are part of it, but just don't have the means to do it at the time. Yeah, exactly. We'll make sure that that's not a barrier or a gate for certain people.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Can you explain gatekeeping to non-corporate girlies?
I feel like we kind of did in the beginning of the episode. What do you think?
Yeah, we did. It's when someone chooses to withhold information, when they decide that they are the keeper of the information for no apparent reason, and decide who deserves access to it.
Yeah.
And it's based on totally subjective measures, which is not cool.
Yeah.
And it can happen in literally any industry. This is not about corporate.
Yeah.
This is about life. It can happen if you are in a friendship, in a professional setting. It can happen, if you're trying to start your own like salon, and there's so many things that you have to learn.
Oh, actually, gatekeeping is huge in the
cosmetology,
in the hair industry.
Oh, really?
It's huge. I've talked to my hairstylist about it.
How?
Because they have like I could be butchering this, but they have their secret sauces in the way that they like do hair. This is what she told me. I don't know. But she said that like, yeah, you have to like, a lot of the education you have to pay for like courses and things like that. People aren't just like sharing the information for free a lot. Like, but it's like kind of silly because it's like, it's just like,
especially in that industry, you physically do not have the ability to serve every single client.
Yeah.
Because it's your time and yourself that's delivering the service.
Absolutely. That's interesting to think about. Yeah.
So weird. What has been your biggest professional obstacle that you've overcome?
For me, it would be definitely, I mean, 4 years ago, I was under the impression that I was never going to make, and I was like, I heard that people had $100,000 salaries, or like people were making $100,000 a year. My boyfriend at the time was like in sales, and and I can't believe how I thought of myself, but I was like, that will literally never be me. Like,
you thought that was unattainable.
Yeah, I was like, that is literally impossible. It was just like not I was like, maybe one day I'll make like almost $100,000 a year.
Dang.
And
look at you now.
I know, it's like so weird. I don't know, but
no, sure most people know, but Haley has built a multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah, I feel like it's
blew
crazy.
Past the six figures.
Yeah. So I feel like just getting past that, I don't know, that like a lot of like negative beliefs. I don't know. I guess that's not really business. That's more like personal. Or that's not career. That's more personal.
No, but that is, I was going to say something similar.
Yeah.
My biggest professional obstacle hasn't been anybody else. It's been myself. And the confidence that I need to just not waste so much time. And I have wasted so much time and energy in my career questioning that I knew what I was talking about. And I just wish I could get those years back.
Yeah.
Of hedging everything that I said. I used to be the queen of that. Like, I don't know, this is just my opinion. I probably don't know everything, but here's what I think. Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just because people make you feel like you're not qualified to share your opinion unless you have certain number of years. And I had to get past that.
I feel like I'm still working on that. But it's almost like you don't even realize you're doing it until you start to have these types of conversations. But
yeah,
you don't even really realize that you're doing it. You feel like you're almost being polite or you're being careful.
That's
like,
so true.
Yeah. You think it's kind of a good thing, but it's actually not. But it's actually not good for the way you're thinking about yourself and the way that
it's not good for confident, like how you're perceived either. Actually, core memory, one of the girls had asked a question on here I grew up with. She said to me when we were in high school,
"Oh wow,
you always hedge what you say. Why do you say that?" And that has stuck with me forever.
Wow.
And I don't know why I didn't correct it sooner, but I think it's because of what you just said. I felt like I had to be humble.
Yeah.
Or I felt like I had to be polite and not be pushy about my opinion. So I
feel like I've done that a lot where like, you're right. And you're like,
yeah,
I don't know, but like, I think
just say what is right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is for sure a professional obstacle. Sounds like we both had to overcome that. Let's see. How do you balance work and life? I feel like I could just go at work and never stop.
I feel like you have a lot more life. I have
some more dependence.
Yeah.
I think if you feel like you can just go at work and never stop, it means you're doing something that you really like or that you're good at.
And knowing the girl that submitted this question, you are doing something that you really like.
Oh, do you know who it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. And I think different seasons of life bring different things. But of course, you want to avoid burnout.
Yeah.
And so balance has to be part of it. And balance looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
And so I think just knowing what your personal balance needs to look like so that you can sustain the level of work that you need to do is really key. And for me personally, I just check in with myself a lot. I could go 2 weeks and have nothing social on the calendar and I can be super fine with that. And then there are other weeks where I feel like I'm craving friend time or family time or whatever it is, alone time even.
Yeah.
And it just something else needs to shift. So it's a constant, like when I'm saying seasons, I'm not talking in year increments. I'm talking like a few weeks at a time.
Yeah.
You know what is demanded of you from a work standpoint, and then you scale it back in a few weeks and go harder on something else that brings you back into balance. But I think it's just totally fluid. This has to be a fluid check-in with yourself.
I also feel like I resonate with what she's saying, where there's been days where I think this person also lives alone with her dog. So when you live alone and you're working for your own business and you love it, it can get dangerous because you can wake up first thing in the morning and start working, and then you can sit there and work all day past 5 p.m. and nobody's there to, pull you out of it or be like, all right, time to get outside. Like, except your dog, but
good point.
You gotta like let your dog outside. But I've just found I just gotta get up at 5, and if not for like my sanity, for my body, because I need to go move my body and get outside because I'm hunched over my computer.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's something that helps for me though.
Movement.
Getting out.
Breaking up routines and helping. Yeah. Like getting out of your own.
That's hard for me to stop working in the middle of the day and go for a walk. I feel like I just want to get back to work. But this is also like we say, it's very seasonal. Like that's not all the time.
Right.
There's been periods in my life, and this could be weeks at a time, or where I don't feel like working at all. And then there's been definitely periods of time where I'm like not wanting to work, but that's probably from burnout.
Totally.
But yeah, and then there's periods of time where I just want to work nonstop, and I love it. I don't know.
What is a financial goal that you have for this year? My financial goal is that I am going to have my highest earning year this year. Few irons in the fire.
Woo!
I think there's a path. There is. Why did I say I think? There is a path.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Highest earning year. So for Coffee and Contracts, I set a very ambitious goal.
For revenue?
For annual revenue. We want to almost double our revenue, which is really ambitious, but we have a couple strategies that could help us get there by offering like new products and different streams of revenue. But that'd
be huge.
It is ambitious, but we'll see.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think that covers it. Yeah, that covers our questions.
Covers the cues.
So what do you want to share about the community?
All the things. We're very excited. It's going to be so fun.
Excited.
I can't wait. I have so many things that I've been sitting on that I'm like, I can't wait to post this. Just like different things that I send you all day.
Yeah. So people can officially sign up to be a member of the community today.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
At getgateless.com.
Getgateless.com.
$34 a month. You'll be a founding member. Our first of the first. So if we ever raise the price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our goal is to continue adding value to the membership.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be a day where it is more expensive, but this is the founding member offer.
Yeah.
And it'll just continue to get more valuable after that.
Yeah, we're going to be continuing to add more trainings. We have a couple trainings planned this month. Once you join, you go on getgateless.com, you sign up. You just request to join the Facebook group. We'll let you in. And then basically everything is going to be stored in the Facebook group. We may end up changing that if you guys want to, we'll probably just like, we're going to keep a lot of tabs with you guys. Like, hey, how are you like at Facebook? Should we move to Slack? Should we move to this? You know, just to keep the pulse on everything. But we're going to start in Facebook. We have our resources in there, like files. We have, we're going to continue to be adding a ton of resources. And also if you guys have resources that you want to add, you can add them in. Like, yeah. So it's just going to be continuing to grow. And then we have a monthly call, like a entire community call. And the goal of that is for it to be kind of like a mastermind. We'll kind of, we'll see how it goes depending on, you know, how many people we have. And as it grows, how like it may change. But a couple ideas that we'd love to get y'all's feedback on is we have this idea of having like where everyone gets a hot seat. So you have a few minutes to ask the group something that you're struggling with, and everybody can give you their feedback on it, which can be super helpful. But we also want to have accountability too. We're going to have posts on Mondays where you can drop something that you want us to hold you accountable for. And then on Friday, we'll check in and be like, how did you do on that? It's going to be helpful for me.
So what's included in the membership is basically a vault of resources that could be used for starting a business, growing your revenue. If you're in corporate, negotiating promotions or landing jobs or career pathing. What other types of templates? Like actually maybe instead of the other types of templates, who should join this community?
Great question. I've had a couple of friends ask me if they would be a good fit for it. So, of course, entrepreneurs, anyone who is wanting to start a business, is growing their business, has been a business owner, those are definitely obviously great fits. Also, someone who maybe is like the friend that asked me, she is at a point in her career where she does not like what she's doing. She wants to start a business, but she doesn't have anything in the works right now other than she knows what she likes to do. She's like, is it too early for me? I said, I don't think so. I think that is a great investment in this business. You can ask other people for feedback and you have accountability. I think it would really push you forward actually. And so I would, and career girlies too. Like,
I mean, someone that is in your career, if you are somebody that has moments where you think to yourself, I wish I could just ask somebody how to structure this conversation I'm about to have with my boss. I wish I could just ask somebody how I should be thinking about my career path. I wish I could just ask somebody how I should be thinking about my resume or getting paid more or when to pivot totally in your career or just if you ever have thoughts like that, like if you don't know where to turn to ask the questions that you have in your career, whether it's about your sales job that you're in currently and you need help with like deals or you need help figuring out what the next job is for you, you need help figuring out how to make more money. If you have questions about any of those things, this is a good community for you. And really for a tiny bit more than $1 a day, we are your mentors. And then everybody else in the community is at your fingertips. And you can pick their brain, you can ask them questions. This is supposed to be real-time support and feedback for you that we wish we had at the beginning of our professional journeys. So think about it that way, like at your fingertips. You have the support of women that have been where you are today.
Exactly.
And can help guide you through.
Absolutely. I'm very excited about it.
And so they sign up on Get Gateless. All the events are going to be listed on the website in the Facebook
group.
And we launched today, founding members.
So woo! It's going to be awesome.
Well, thanks for joining us on this ride and journey. Everybody, thanks for listening in. Everybody that's here with us. Hello
in the room. This was fun.
See you later.
Don't forget to give us a good rating.
Subscribe to the show. Rate it, please.
Give us your feedback.
We do really want feedback. In the comments. If you can write us an actual review with feedback.
Well, only if it's good feedback. Then if it's bad feedback, just send us an email.
Just a DM. Okay, bye.
Bye.